What's up everybody, it's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video, a long awaited video. This is going to be a Chicago Bulls season review where we go through all of the players individually. We look at the stats and how I think they've contributed to this season alone, regardless of their stats, and give a rating out of 10 of what I think this player did this season. This is basically a player's review. Since the NBA is going to continue without us, the Chicago Bulls fans, we have a lot to talk about. But we have to mainly watch other teams be in the position that we want to be in. And that is the worst feeling in the world as a Bulls fan. So these player ratings might be a bit harsh. Some of them might be a bit lenient. But again, we have to do it. It's a thing that should be done every year. This is just my personal opinion. If you guys do not agree with this opinion, feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to thank you guys so much for 80 subscribers as well. Really appreciate it. The NBA community, the Chicago Bulls community, from top to bottom in the past 2 weeks alone has been absolutely phenomenal. So let's see if we can get this one to an even higher standing. Let's start with the player reviews right now. If you want to see more content like this from me, the Chicago Bulls news and videos, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. It is free. Goal is 90 subscribers. Let's see if we can get there. Now, before we get to the first player, there is a few things that we need to go over. First of all, there are some players that will not be mentioned in this video solely because A, they might not be on the Bulls anymore, and B, they might have not played enough games. So a player like Adam Makoka, who a lot of people are actually really rating high on, he's not going to be in this video because he just has not simply played enough games for the Chicago Bulls, and we are not basing it just on Summer League. So hopefully everything on that retrospect is sorted, and we'll get into the first player right now. Cristiano Felicio, this player for a number of Bulls fans is a player that we do not want to see as a Chicago Bull anymore. Now, credit to Felicio where it's due. When he has come in and played this season, he has done fairly well, but the stats, however, are not on his favor, only averaging 4 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, shooting 67% from the floor. Now, Felicio is the backup to the backup of this Chicago Bulls team, so I can't really give him much of a high rating in terms of his performances, but I don't even think I can give him a low rating either, just because he just hasn't played a lot of games, and when he has not done too badly. So I think I'm going to give him an average score of 5 out of 10. Felicio is probably a player that should be moving on for the Chicago Bulls very, very soon. The contract has been very damaging to what we could do in previous years, and I think it's just time. It's best for both parties if Felicio looks for another team in the very near future. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these players' ratings that I'm going to give them are solely based on what they've contributed throughout their time, not only in previous seasons, but also in this season as well. So a player like Shaquille Harrison, who we will be talking about next, will get a different rating compared to Chris Dunn and compared to Thomas Saransky, even though they've been given more game time, more minutes, and probably more stats. What Shaquille Harrison has brought while he has played, in my opinion, is a little bit better. So in my opinion, Shaquille Harrison, with his stats of 5 points per game, 1 steal per game, shooting 59% from the field, you can arguably say that even though he hasn't had much game time at all, he's had a very, very good season for the Chicago Bulls. What he's brought to this game is athleticism and a defensive presence that we haven't seen, and a little bit of aggressiveness that we also have not seen from our point guard positions in quite a long time. So in order to give him a rating, yes, he might have not had much game time at all. Yes, there were some few games where he was very lackluster. There was a game against Detroit where he absolutely killed it. I believe he had more than 20 points, like 29 points or something like that. So in my opinion, based on what he has been able to contribute due to being given a chance, I'm giving Shaquille Harrison a 7 out of 10 rating for the Chicago Bulls. I thought this guy has had a fantastic season. Granted, he has not played a lot of minutes, and that is something you could say. Again, it's going to be different to someone that has been playing a lot of minutes. Their stats could be very, very poor, and they're going to get a low rating for that. For Shaquille Harrison, he has been very good for us despite not getting enough minutes, and in my opinion, that's why he's been one of the better players in this Bulls review and the Bulls season as a whole. Luke Kornet, the center that everybody was hyped about coming to the Chicago Bulls. Yes, he might have not been a star player or anywhere of that sort, but he could shoot the three. He had great mid-range shooting as well, and he could also rebound because he was very tall. However, did that stature of getting a Luke Kornet live up to the Chicago Bulls? Now, this guy has gotten a lot of game time for the Chicago Bulls. More than Felicio, more than Gafford. But at the end of the day, has he performed to the level that we expected from him to be given the backup center role? His points average was 6 points per game. He had 2.3 rebounds and he shot 53% from the field. So obviously Luke Kornet is a new player for the Chicago Bulls, so you have to give him a little bit of pity points for that because it is his first season. He has to adapt to a whole new different structure. However, in my opinion, Luke Kornet has not performed as much as I thought he would coming into this team. We got a player from New York that people absolutely loved and adored and wished that they kept him into New York. Now, we brought in this player hoping for the same sort of contribution, and maybe stats-wise he has delivered, but watching him game by game, there was only a few glimpses of what I saw. There was a game where he took about 8 shots and made them all. And that's the type of player that we had on our hands. However, it's just not been seen enough. So in my opinion, I'm giving him a 5 out of 10, an average score. He has not been terrible by any means, but defensively he has been poor. They've abused him defensively on the defensive end, and sometimes he just has not been able to make a shot for us. So again, in stretches, he has been good, but in majority of the cases, he has been pretty average, and that's why he gets my 5 out of 10 score. Hopefully next season, he can have a much better season. I believe he's still young, so why not give him another opportunity? Massive fan of Chandler Hutchison. I think for a long time now, at least in the last 2 years, I believed he's going to be the person that will slowly develop into that starting small forward position role. Now, have my opinions changed on that from 2 years ago till now? Probably, but he still brings a lot to the Chicago Bulls team. Now, according to his averages, he's had 8 points per game, 4 rebounds, shooting 52% from the field. Now, according to these stats, you could say that Chandler Hutchison has had a pretty decent season. But in my opinion, he's had a little bit more than a decent season. He's been injured for the majority of the season, to be fair, so let's get that out of the way first. For the majority of the season, he has not been fully healthy. However, when he has come back and played, there is a big difference defensively in this team. Now, yes, he's not the best offensive player. He has shot a little bit better from the three-point range this season, but there is just not enough to say that he has been one of our best players, but he's definitely not been our worst. And I do think when he has played, the chances that he's been given, I think he's done extremely well, and he was one of those bench players that we could always rely on to give heart, passion, defensive capabilities, and also hit out on the fast break every now and then. He's arguably said he wanted to be one of the best players to get steals this season, and I think he's also lived up to that caliber. Obviously, if he had more game time, he'd probably get a higher rating. In my opinion, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 as well, similar to Shaquille Harrison. He hasn't had enough game time, solely because he was injured, and also when he has been playing, he has made a very good impact on this team. I think he's been the second best small forward on the team, so he definitely should deserve that caliber of rating, in my opinion. A 7 out of 10 is what I'm giving him. I thought he had a great season. Now, Denzel Valentine is another one that we can talk about when it comes to injuries kind of ruining the year. So, Denzel Valentine averaged 7 points per game and he shot 51%. So, look, Denzel Valentine is more than just a shooter in my eyes. He has shown capabilities of being a fantastic point guard that could potentially be the backup point guard for the Chicago Bulls. He's a great passer. He can run the plays. Defensively, he's weak. We all know that. But the biggest thing about Denzel Valentine that does not excel me above Chandler Hutchison is his inconsistency when it comes to shooting. He can have a game where he scores 30 points, which we've seen this season. Then he can also have a game which could be the next game after he has 0 points. We need a balance when it comes to Denzel Valentine that we just have not seen in the moment. I still think he's a fantastic role player. I still think Chicago Bulls need to give him chances, and I do think that eventually down the line he will be a great role player for whatever team he plays for. However, this season, inconsistency is the reason he's not getting a higher rating than Chandler Hutchison for me. If I had to give him a score, I'd give him a 6 out of 10. His contributions have been very good for the Chicago Bulls. The problem is we've just not seen it enough when he's on the floor, and that is why he gets a 6 out of 10 for me. I still see him being in a very good piece for the Chicago Bulls next season. So stay on the lookout for that, hopefully. Ryan Arcidiacono, another player that the Chicago Bulls are very, very fond of. He gives a lot of effort onto this team. He's a good shooter at times, and he does deliver set plays instead of just running it to the floor and maybe attacking. He does like to get things in sets. He likes to run the plays, and he gives us a lot of hustle and stability in that point guard role. Now, his averages are not great, to be fair, averaging 4.5 points per game. He has a 39% 3-point percentage, and he shot 55% from the floor. So look, he has had a decent season. Again, hasn't had much game time, but there's a difference, man. We've had so many point guards that Arcidiacono has not been given enough of a chance. But when he has played, he has shown consistency in his game. He has shown improvement. He is a good shooter. He loves to shoot corner threes. When he's always in position, he does let them fly. The one thing I want to see about Ryan Arcidiacono is probably a little bit more of taking the game in the grasp and actually taking it by the throat instead of just doing everything organized, which is what he loves to do. I want to see a little bit more aggression out of him. Now, I still think he's had a good season. Again, I'm not going to put him to the level of a Hutchison or even a Shaquille Harrison for that matter. I'm going to give Ryan Arcidiacono a 6 out of 10 for this score. Again, we've seen highlights from Arcidiacono that not a lot of players would even present to the Chicago Bulls. He is a great grit and grind defend type player who can shoot the ball. I just want to see him be a little bit more aggressive because I feel like he could take his game well beyond the next level if he was just a little bit more aggressive with his shot, also a little bit more aggressive with the attacking the paint sometimes. Only criticism I really have of him, I thought he's had a very decent season for the Chicago Bulls. Daniel Gafford, the big man, in his first season of the Chicago Bulls, and I thought this guy had a fantastic first start to the season. Now, the stats are something, but the eye test, which is something that Bulls fans love, when we watch some players, we can tell. I thought Daniel Gafford was superb. Now, his stats are 5.1 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, but the most important thing is 1.3 blocks. Now, Daniel Gafford is very athletic, we all know this. Daniel Gafford is very aggressive, we all know this. Daniel Gafford loves to dunk, loves to finish around the rim. He's shown that he's more than just a dunker, however. He has a very good finish around the ring, the rolls and everything, man. You love to see Daniel Gafford attacking the paint because that is probably what he's best at. Defensively, he's been second to none, arguably been our best defensive center when you really think about it, maybe beyond Wendell Carter, which is a big topic of discussion for a lot of Bulls fans. But regardless of the fact, Daniel Gafford, in my opinion, has had an absolutely superb start to the Chicago Bulls, and I can only see him, granted that he hasn't had as much of an opportunity as a Luke Cornett or even a Wendell Carter, because Wendell Carter, that spot should not be safe just for him. But when Daniel Gafford has been given an opportunity to play, he's absolutely taken it, and that is the reason why he has gotten more minutes towards the end of the season than at the beginning, because once he took that chance, we couldn't stop picking him. So in my opinion, Daniel Gafford got an 8 out of 10 rating from me. I thought he's probably going to get the highest rating of the Chicago Bulls series, and in my opinion, the reason why is because with the chances that he's gotten, he's taken them all. It's not like he's had a terrible game. There have been games where he's been dominated, but in the end, he's still shown good hustle, good blocks, good determination to get better. We see that out of Daniel Gafford, and I feel like we need to recognize that he is going to be probably a fantastic center for the Chicago Bulls. Granted, if he's starting or not, however he does contribute, he's going to do it very, very well, and that's why he gets an 8 out of 10 for me. Thaddeus Young. Now, this is a player that we all see from the Chicago Bulls standpoint and beyond as a player that could do everything on the floor. He gives you hard work ethic. He gives you rebounds, assists, running the floor. He can shoot the three in spades. and he is a good attacker of the rim. Now, the problem with Thaddeus Young here is that there's been a lot of talk that he has not been settling in coming off the bench. He would much rather start. Now, unfortunately, that power forward position is nowhere near going to be his at the Chicago Bulls, and I think that's kind of halted his performance. Now, the one thing I also want to talk about Thaddeus Young is he's taken a lot of shots for the Chicago Bulls, and in doing that, he's averaged less in every other stat. Now, there are positives to his game. Thaddeus Young is a good defender, and he's shown that with his steals. He's averaging 1.4 steals per game. He's also averaging 10 points per game, so that's a very good contribution off the bench. We've trusted him in a lot of high-pressure situations. He's still the Thaddeus Young of old. He's still been very, very good for the Chicago Bulls, but because he's had a little bit of a regression from last season, even though he wasn't a Bulls player till now, playing on the bench, not really accepting the bench role, and also just taking a lot of shots, like a lot. I think he has the most shot, he has one of the most shots on the team, maybe besides Zach LaVine and everybody. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 rating, solely because of that. He has played every single game, and he has games where he's been phenomenal. There's been games where he's been bad. I feel like that's been the story of the Bulls season for nearly every player, but I think just for the amount of game time that he gets, the amount of shots that he takes, the amount of opportunities and inconsistencies within his game, I think he's had a fairly decent season. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 for his contributions to the team. Now, granted, as I'm going to keep on saying, every single player's rating is going to be different depending on how much game time they get, the role of the player on the team, and as well as how well they've actually taken to that role. And that's why Thaddeus Young probably gets less than Daniel Gafford, despite what people probably would say that he probably deserves more. Based on stats, yes, of course he does deserve more, but based on the amount of chances that he's been given, I think he's been a 6 out of 10, me personally. Chris Dunn, the absolute sleeper of the Chicago Bulls, man. No one talks about Chris Dunn on this team, and anytime his name does get brought up, it's in a trade conversation. But something that you guys don't know is I believe he is second in steals for the Chicago Bulls as of speaking. Now, I'm not sure exactly if that is true or not, considering the NBA has continued without us at the moment, but he is averaging 2 steals per game. Now, that is one of the highest of the entire season. You have to give credit where it's due. He's not played his natural position as the point guard, but he's played his role phenomenally well, and I think he's had a fantastic season for the Chicago Bulls. He's definitely a sleeper. He's averaged 7.3 points per game and 3.4 assists as well. He's shooting decently, 50% from the floor. In my opinion, Chris Dunn has had an absolutely phenomenal season for the Chicago Bulls. He's definitely been the sleeper pick for a lot of people when it comes to being who's been the best player, who's been the most decent player, maybe the most underrated player. Chris Dunn is in that conversation for me. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 for his contributions to the team. Man, a defensive nightmare Chris Dunn is. Now, again, there are still small elements in his game that I don't like. Obviously, we need to see him shoot more. He needs to become a better shooter, and also we need to see a little bit less fouls. Again, it's been the situation for Chris Dunn for so long now. He picks up a lot of fouls he just should not be picking up, and that kind of faults him, and it kind of makes him play less because of that. But I think he's had a great season, and that's why he gets that rating. Again, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments why. Going on to the first starter of the Chicago Bulls, who has started, arguably is probably not the starter anymore, but he was starting for the majority of the season, Tomas Saransky. Now, Tomas Saransky, in my opinion, has had an up and down season, but statistically wise, he has actually done fairly well, averaging 10 points per game and 5.4 rebounds. Now, Tomas Saransky, 5.4 assists, sorry. Now, Saransky, in my opinion, is a very, very decent player, and he does his role well. And in my opinion, I thought he's had a good season. Again, there's been issues with him having the ball a lot. He is inconsistent when it comes to scoring. We all know him as a great scorer. He can shoot the 3. His size is very good for a point guard, and he does take it to the paint. But the problem is we don't see that enough, and that is why, in my opinion, he gets a 7 out of 10 Actually 6 out of 10. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 because we expected more from what we got out of Saransky. Everybody thought that he was ready to take the next step and get out of the level of get out of the pretty much the shadows of the Washington Wizards John Wall, and we've only seen that in a few spades, man. We've seen games, especially against the Wizards, he's had great games. There have been games where he couldn't miss. There have been games where he's been aggressive. We need to see more aggressiveness out of Saransky. Stats wise, for a starter, point guard who's arguably meant to be a scorer, I don't know if it's going to be the best, and that's why he gets a 6 from me. Definitely not average. I definitely think he's had a better season than average. 6 out of 10 is where I would rank him, to be honest. Let me know if you guys agree with that one as well. Now, Otto Porter is someone that I probably shouldn't even be mentioning in this, but since he's been a player that is well known to be a good player for the Chicago Bulls, I thought despite him not really playing enough games for me to give him a rating, he has been a good contributor when he has played. He has made very good threes. I think if he didn't get injured this season, he probably would have been one of our better players. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 just based on what I think he would have done. Look, at the end of the day, there's very, very few people that will get 7s and 8s. There already have been. I think there only one more player will get in that rating of a 7 or an 8, and unfortunately Otto Porter is not one of them. So we will move on from that one very, very quickly. And here we go into another rookie, Coby White. Now, I love Coby White, and I think all Chicago Bulls fans love Coby White and know the player that they have on their hands here. Now, he has had an incredible 2 months of the NBA while it was still going for us, where he won in one of those months the Rookie of the Month for the Eastern Conference. And in my opinion, Coby White has had a fantastic season, but beyond the Chicago Bulls, he's not been nearly talked about as a good rookie, and that needs to change, and I think he will definitely change that. Now, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Now, according to his stats, which is 13.2 points per game, he shot 50% from the field as a total. The thing is here is that, number one, he was very inconsistent. Just again, you expect that from a rookie. That's why I'm not going to take points off for being inconsistent. As a rookie, you're going into a league where you're playing against grown men that have been here for 10 years, 5 to 10 years, that are actually ready and know what to expect from the NBA. Coby White came into this having talent and skill, and he's used that talent and skill to get where he is today. But again, he was playing against grown men, and sometimes it takes time to adapt. I think he's adapted extremely well. I think 7 out of 10 is definitely the thing I'm going to give Coby White. I know I've given him less than Daniel Gafford, but I feel like Daniel Gafford didn't get anywhere near the opportunities, but also made a really good impact. Coby White has been given opportunities, but now next season is really where I'm going to give him a good or bad rating, because he's probably going to be starting next season for us, and that's where we could truly see what Coby White's all about. He did start towards the end of the season, but now that the season is basically gone for us, we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. He had a fantastic 2 months, and that's why I'm giving him a 7 out of 10 rating. Now, here we go into Wendell Carter Jr. Now, this player has gotten injured this season as well. The second season straight, he has gotten injured within the season that has taken him out for a long period of time. The thing with Wendell Carter is when he has played, he has been absolutely phenomenal for us, to be honest. He was very close to getting the most double-doubles in the season until obviously he got injured. He had 17 double-doubles in the season. I thought he played very, very well for us. However, again, the stats won't really show it, but we will show the stats anyway. He has 11.3 points per game and 9.4 rebounds, a near double-double average. So in my opinion, he is one of those players that I have to give a 7 out of 10 for. I have to. What he's actually contributed, he doesn't get the most shots. He actually doesn't even get any shots. Most of his shots are from his own rebounds. So, and he's also undersized as a center. Probably shouldn't even be playing that center position. In my opinion, Wendell Carter has had a phenomenal year. And again, it's only going to get better for me. I do think next season he will have a better season than the last. And I do think that he will get more points. He will get more confident in his shooting. He will potentially start shooting threes, which is going to be a big concern because we've seen Andre Drummond shoot threes and that didn't turn out well for anybody. But Wendell Carter, maybe it will turn out well. I do think he's going to be growing into the stage where he he's going to be extremely confident in his abilities. He's going to be playing better defense every single year. And offensively, his game will come to him further on down the line. 7 out of 10 is definitely what I give for him. If he wasn't injured, probably would have got an 8. That's just the way that I see it. Now, the second last player that we need to talk about here is Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen has had a pretty poor season considering his last season till now. Now, he's averaging 14 points per game or 15 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, shooting 56%. Now, look, the difference with Lauri Markkanen from last year and this year is night and day, and he has regressed dramatically. People are wondering what is happening with Lauri Markkanen. Now, we can put all of this onto Jim Boylen, but in my opinion, some of it does need to be taken blame on Lauri Markkanen's behalf, and I'm sure he would understand that as well. We cannot all defend his performance for this season and put it solely on the coach. We need to have accountability in our team. That's the only way we're going to get forward. So in my opinion, a lot of it is based on Lauri Markkanen as well. We cannot just sit and hide and say it's all Jim Boylen's fault. We do need accountability. Yeah. Now, yes, Jim Boylen is at fault for a lot of it, and apparently that is the reason why Lauri Markkanen wants to request a trade, is because Jim Boylen is here and because he doesn't rate Lauri Markkanen as much as Fred Hoiberg did, and Fred Hoiberg got the absolute best out of Lauri Markkanen, and I could definitely see why he's regressed this season. But due to that regression, I have to give him a 4 out of 10, man. He has not been good. He hasn't regressed to the point where I think he's a role player or anything like that, but he has regressed from nearly a 20 points or 17 point to a 20 point per game player to a 15 point per game player, and that is a very big regression in just one season. We do need to make Lauri Markkanen improve, so he's going to get the lowest rating considering he has the most game time out of every player besides Zach LaVine, and he probably has the second most shots, and he's just not been delivering as much as he should have. So compared to last season to this season, it's definitely a 4 out of 10 in my eyes. Last but not least, let's talk about Zach LaVine. Now, Zach LaVine is the star player of the Chicago Bulls, and we all know that he increases his work rate, he increases his stats, he increases his level of play every single year, and that is solely because of his work ethic. Now, if you look at Zach LaVine stat-wise, this season, he's averaged 25.5 points per game this season, and he's shooting very close to 57% from the field. So look, Zach LaVine, we all know that he's had a better season than last season, and that's why he's going to get a 7 out of 10 rating for me. Now, the reason why he doesn't get an 8 is because he hasn't exactly reached from now to an all-star level, but he's very, very close, and I think this year he definitely could have been an all-star. But if you're looking at other years, I do think that maybe he needs to do just a tad bit more. But I think Zach LaVine, at the age he is, the contract that he's under, he's an absolute must to keep for the Chicago Bulls. And again, I'm seeing trade rumors left, right, and center, which we will discuss in another video. Don't you guys worry about that. But regardless of that, he's had a fantastic season for the Chicago Bulls. He's given us some fantastic highlights. Buzzer beater against Hornets comes to mind. There's been games where he's just simply not missed. And that is why, in my opinion, he has... From last season, even though he was great last season to this season, I saw a star this season. Like, I truly believe that's what I saw. I saw the player from that was kind of still, you know, on the road to becoming a good player, merge into a good player, and it's only going to take maybe 1 or 2 seasons where we see him now when he's a good player. He's arguably an all-star, and we're going to hopefully see him merge into an all-star, a guaranteed all-star, and possibly even a superstar. But that's the high hopes we have for Zach LaVine, and that is why he should be a Chicago Bull for a longer period of time. We need to treat our star players, our potential players, the right way. We need to keep the core together, and Zach LaVine is the beginning of that core, and is probably going to be the end of that core if he ends up leaving. Now, Jim Boylen, I had to bring him in here because he has been a sole reason for this season that a lot of things have gone wrong. Now, we've had one season that has been considered mediocre at best. I mean, we did do a little bit better than last season, but regardless, we expected to do so much more. Our owners and our GM at the time offered us so much more, basically saying that we will make the 8 and if we don't make the 8, then we're basically they're going to resign. And it looks like that's exactly what happened pretty much. We didn't get into the 8, and now we're watching other teams play, and Jim Boylen is one of the reasons that is happening. So if I have to give Jim Boylen a rating, I'm sorry, I have to give him a 2. I think by far he's been the most significant reason why we've lost a lot of games. He's done a lot of coaching decisions, mistakes. He's talking to the media very, very poorly sometimes. He basically doesn't give any answers to what's going on except for saying that we work really hard. I'm not discounting that we work really hard, but there needs to be more than hard work that goes into training. We need player development. We need to have accountability, and I don't see accountability with Jim Boylen, to be honest. I don't see him taking any blame or any significant heat for what he does except for from the fans. And again, players defend him and not accuse him of anything because they know what will happen if they do. And I think as a franchise, you need accountability in your players and in your coach. Those are the 2 things you need accountability for. If none of them take accountability, then this team will get nowhere because everyone's going to blame each other. And that's what I think is happening behind the scenes. Players are blaming the coaches are blaming the players, the owners are blaming the players, and the players are blaming the owners. That's exactly what's happening. And I think Jim Boylen is a prime example of that. So that is what I'm going to give for him in the season. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. This is taking a very long time to make, so I do hope you guys enjoy it. And let me know in the comments below if you agree with these ratings. Again, I do have to specify that some of these players' ratings are justified solely on the actual opportunities they've been given and how they've been taking it. So a player like Shaquille Harrison, who's only played a bunch of NBA games this season, has gotten a 7 out of 10. And Larry Marketing, who's played nearly all the games this season, has better stats but gotten a 4 out of 10, because it's what we expect from these players and how well they perform based on those expectations. So again, if you guys disagree with anything that I've said, I would really like to know what you guys think in the comments below. This is going to be a video that I'm expecting some comments. I might expect some dislikes as well, but I feel like in the end, some of these players deserve the praise and some other players deserve some criticism so they can learn from what they've been doing wrong. And I think a bunch of Bulls channels should be making us a video like this, and I think deep down all of them will eventually, but that is going to be mine. Now, we will talk about more Bulls news in another video, so stay tuned. The NBA community on this channel, the NBA community, has been by far the best on this YouTube channel, so thank you guys so much for all of your support. Again, the one thing that I love is comments. I love to have comments on my videos. It gives me a chance to talk to some people that actually took the time out of their day to watch a YouTube video or to watch what I have to say and give their own opinions and make up their own minds. And again, that's what the Chicago Bulls are all about, man. We all love the Chicago Bulls in one way or another, and we're just expressing how we do love the Chicago Bulls and how we think the Chicago Bulls should get solved. So there's no right or wrong opinion here. If you guys think that Larry Marketing was a 10 out of 10, I can't say you're wrong, because in the end, that's what you believe. So let me know what you guys think. Have a wonderful and safe day. Take care and peace.